done a fair amount of public speaking, but this is absolutely the first time that I've actually written some stuff down. Because I feel like I'm with my family and you guys are going to call me on my shit if I lie or if I somehow fabricate a wonderful existence that you all know is fatally flawed with real life. So the thing that Drew was talking about, just to let you guys know, is when I get nervous, I because I'm 53 years old, sometimes just a little bit of pee will come out. Or if I like step off a curb funny, or I can't go on a trampoline anymore. You know, there are a lot of problems with aging, and I feel really honored to have a chance to age. I didn't think I was going to get to age, and at this point, a little bit of pee is the least of my worries. I'm pretty happy about that. So, and all of you who are looking at me like, that's weird, wait until you're 53. That's what I have to say about that. So I am just so honored to be a part of this amazing collection of some of my biggest heroes. They're in the front row, they're in the middle, they're in the back. Some of them have Chewbacca masks. So I'm really honored. And just to give you a little bit of the backstory, I built my house 12 years ago after meeting Jay. Hi, Jay. I called him the tiny house man. That was what he was to me, the tiny house man. And he motivated me and inspired me and let me call him when I would get stuck in my build. I remember calling him one time and saying I was thinking about flipping the roof the other way so that it would be more aerodynamic. And I think his response was, "Oh, Dee, there's nothing about this that's going to be aerodynamic. I would give up that dream." So he led me straight along the way while I was building, and has continued to be a dear friend over these last 12 years. It was really sweet when I... Peas popping. Okay, can you guys hear me now? I feel like I'm going to eat this thing, but I'm going to go with it. So anyway, it was sweet the other day to be able to hand my house off to Jonathan. The house has offered me so much, and I want to explain that a little bit. The way I wanted to talk about my existence in the little house has been this huge volume of stuff that I've learned over the last 12 years, and juxtapose that to what I've actually come to know viscerally in my body, in my heart. So I want to start with building, since that was my first bit of learning. And I want to ask, how many of you out here have built a tiny house? Keep your hands up. Okay, how many of you have ever built a chicken coop or a shed? Okay, keep your hands up. How many of you have ever tried to install shelves in something? IKEA furniture? A birdhouse? Blankets clipped to a chair? Lego castle? Okay, we're getting there. The bottom line is, you can put your hands down. The bottom line is we're all builders. I've said it before, but I think building is a part of our DNA. It's a part of how we relate to the world around us. Our forebears had to know how to build a structure, how to build a shelter. They had a different understanding of our natural environment because of that. They knew what materials would make a good structure, what materials wouldn't. They knew which direction the rain predominantly came. They knew where the sun came up. And over time, we've lost that. Over time, we've enclosed ourselves and we've lost our ability to kind of innately understand our placement on the earth. And a lot of that is due to architecture. So deciding to take on a building project, whether it's clipping blankets to a chair, a Lego castle, or a shed, or shelves, it connects you to a part of your DNA, and it's magical. And that's what I discovered building my tiny house. I also learned how to pick up a 60-pound sheet of plywood by myself. I learned how to drive one of those Home Depot carts into several displays. I learned how to recover nicely after nearly lancing myself. Oh yes, right there. With a stick of 2x4.
Oh my gosh.
I glued my hair to the house and I learned how to recover from that. It was a little shorter after that situation. I learned how to ask for help, which was incredibly hard for me. And I double dog dare any of you who are interested in building to start practicing asking for help now, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it in spades. So try doing that now. I learned how determined you have to be to pursue your dream. How many of you guys want to do something cool? Whether it's build a tiny... You guys, look around, look at each other. You're going to need each other, and you're going to have to step up to the plate in your understanding of what it means to be determined and go for something. I learned how to make a lot of mistakes and forgive myself for it and get back at it. One day I screwed all the rafters in place, and I came down off the building and went around the corner to get a cup of coffee. And I came back, and my house looked like a Viking ship. Every single rafter was screwed in the wrong place. I mean, it was beautiful in its own way, but it wasn't going to work for a house. So I had to crawl back up and unscrew everything and put it back. And there was a lot of that. And that's okay. Our mistakes tell us as much about how to do something as our great successes. And I feel very successful because there were a lot of mistakes. So that was kind of the building process for me. It took me 3 months and $10,000. My house is super simple compared to some of the other beautiful houses that are out here. And if you look closely, you'll find the mistakes. But I'm proud of those just as much as the good things. So building was one way that I learned a lot. And I'm still learning when I get to work with amazing builders. And the other way that I've learned a lot over the last several years is looking at minimalism and what that means. And what I've discovered, I mean, I had about 305 things. I've winnowed down a little bit since I've downsized recently into a 56 square foot house. So I've gotten rid of some stuff.
Wow.
But I have, let's say, 300 or so things. And what I've discovered about minimalism is that I don't have a vernacular for it necessarily. I just, it's about stuff and trying to curate your stuff. Keep the things in your life that you love, that remind you of the people that you love, the places that you've been that have turned you into the amazing, awesome person that you are. It's stuff, but the bigger step in minimalism, I think, is about stripping away the veneer that holds us in place in a capitalist society. Stripping away those things that separate us from each other and from our natural community and from the issues that we're passionate about. So it means showing up and being authentic. That's what minimalism means to me. I am what I am. I've had these pants on for nearly 2 weeks and I haven't washed them yet. This is me, you guys. I'm a doorknob sometimes, and but such a good doorknob. Such a good doorknob. And I look out and I just see people that I want to talk to. I want to get to know because I'm inspired by all of you. And I'm inspired mostly when I see people that show up just as they are. They don't have a pretense. They're not selling something or buying something. They don't have an agenda. They're just themselves. And I find that humbling. So deep bows to all y'all. You're all out there. The other thing I wanted to say, I'm so glad I have these notes. Because I feel kind of vulnerable up here. I feel like you guys know this stuff better than I do. I'm just a girl in a house, but you guys are smart. So the other thing, that I want to acknowledge when we talk about minimalism, when we talk about tiny houses, is that it's a lifestyle choice, right? If it's a lifestyle choice, that means it's a choice. The word there is choice. And having a choice is a privilege. Amen. There are a lot of people that don't have a choice and are forced into living very differently than they would dream to live. And so hanging on to that idea of privilege gives us an opportunity to act differently, right? To choose differently, to be wise, to be kind, to see each other for the simple humans that we are, and to let go of what we want in order to supply or offer something to somebody else, to give something back to nature, to go without in order to reduce degradation to our environment. Those are hard choices. But minimalism, for most of us in the audience, maybe not everybody, is a choice. And that, again, along with all y'all and all the cool stuff you guys are doing, it humbles me. I feel like I'm walking around with a dose of humility as I walk around and see people. And also I have a lot of gratitude because a lot of you guys are pushing the envelope in your own life and pushing it for all of us. Do you guys feel like this is getting shorter? I'm okay. Everything's fine. Not really. That's perfect. That's okay, yeah, it is. Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. So we got the building education, all that learning I did with that. You got minimalism and me trying to learn what to do with my crap and curate it, which was hard, and how to show up and be myself a little more honestly, which has been incredibly challenging. Then the third thing, that I think I've learned the most about is community. And I've been struggling over the last couple of weeks on how to articulate that because it's so embedded in how we relate. Like, how do you put words to something that's ubiquitous, something that's big and puffy and large? So I just came up with a list, and I was thinking maybe we could do it like a rap. Yeah. Okay. Moon, trees, stars, clouds that look like broccoli spears, salmon, heron, raccoons, porcupine, my dog, the grapevines, Oliver's homegrown wheat, strawberries in the June, rain all winter and the spring squirrels. I'm sorry, that I don't really rap. So I'll just, no more clapping because it's throwing me off. Okay, the library, the sexy librarians, the food co-op, the sun, powering my lights, the wind, calming and taming the heat in the summertime, the local bee lady, my dear sweet Rita, Hugh, Annie, Kiva, Kellen, Rudy, Olakai, Emily, Jeff, Callum, the mailman and his freaking awesome fro, the Laotians across the street that make the whole block smell like amazing food, the church lady next door, all the college students, their couches sitting on the porch, the professors, the car mechanics, the coffee baristas, the artists making music, creating beauty, creating a place for our hearts to sing, Michelle and Barack Obama, Donald Trump, bankers, bakers, tiny house makers, and of course you. And the reason I just needed to list all of that stuff, and I get choked up because there are people on this list that are part of my heart now, is that community is inclusive. It includes the people that make our blood boil. It includes the entities that we don't understand and are completely mysterious, most of nature, actually. And it takes great patience and perseverance to embrace the notion that we all belong, all of us. God didn't make a single mistake. And that's hard to remember sometimes because we get attached to our own thoughts and our own opinion. Thank you for letting me tear up a little bit. It's awkward for me, I'm an emotional person.